Hello everybody and welcome to tonight's Friday primetime broadcast brought to you by Racebot TV here on the iRacing Esports Network. It is the Indy Pro 2000 Championship and it's coming to you from Lexington, Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, and what an amazing venue this is for race action. And joining me, actually first of all we'll have a look at the conditions here. As you can see, there's the circuit. And you've got 5 left-hand turns, 8 right-hand turns here on this track. Partly cloudy, so nice cool track conditions for the drivers. Joining me on commentary is Ryan Walker. Connery Maddock is behind the scenes on the cameras. And this Van Ballo, trackcams22.com, providing you all of our track cameras. But it is yet another week of this series, and with it being a 13-week series here, Ryan, it really is it just feels like we've still got a long way to go yet.
Yeah, absolutely. It's actually flew by this season so far, and one of my favourite tracks in the iRacing service, Mid-Ohio. The race I done last night was absolutely fantastic, and I think tonight as well with this primetime race, it's going to be exciting to watch.
Certainly should be. It's a tight, twisty track. Not that much opportunity to get some slipstreaming happening, mainly just down the back straight after the keyhole. But we'll have a look at the schedule then. So here we are, week 9, 26 laps of this circuit. Next week we head on over to Suzuka. And then we've got the final of our oval races at Lucas Oil Raceway. WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca for week 12, and then specially for this season of the iRacing schedule, a 13th official week at the Nürburgring on the Nordschleife. 6 laps around that spectacular venue. Going to provide some unique action for us, that's for sure. But it will concentrate then on Mid-Ohio then, and qualifying is just ongoing at the moment. Most of the drivers have set their lap times, so we'll bring you the grid when that does get ready to form. But Ryan, you mentioned that you were racing here yesterday. How was the racing then? You said it was close. How was it? Was it hard to overtake around here, or were there opportunities?
Yeah, there were several opportunities to pass around here. I mean, you've got the likes, you've got the run down to turn 2, which is the keyhole, and then you've got the exit of the keyhole. You can if you get a great run, you can make a pass on people. But on the other hand, you've got difficult sections as well, like that twisty section in the last sector. So it makes it a bit of it's kind of, you've got to make your move in the last sector, otherwise you've got no chance in the last sector.
Well, let's have a look at the grid then. This formed a little bit quicker than we were expecting, but here we go then. Celia Amida on pole position ahead of Ross Woodford. Elliot Veyron ahead of Greg Seitz on row 2. Well, Greg Seitz, should I say? I do apologise. Ocean Walsh and Nikita Lastoshkin. Do apologise, Nikita, for row number 3. Row 4 is Valentina Mandanet and Phil Reed in 8th place. Row 5, Paul Ilbrink and Thomas Ziegler with Mitchell Green and Martin Arnoldis, row number 6. Row 7 is Baptiste Schneider ahead of Christian Otterello with Evan Imre and Frank Nguyen for 16th place. 17th and 18th, John McHutchinson and Fabio Berchtold with Jeroen Messig and Aaron Roofs in 20th place. That's row number 10. Row 11, Mike McCormick ahead of Andreas Felipe Correa with Topher Roberts and Chris Willite rounding out your 24-car grid. It's a short pace lap here, so we've not got far to go before the start of this race. Just very quickly then, Ryan, who's your money on?
My money's going to be on Ross Woodford. Anytime I've watched him, he's been basically the class of the field, but don't rule out Greg Seitz.
Yeah, absolutely. Greg Seitz, certainly a driver to keep an eye out. But, the driver's getting ready then. Waiting for the iRacing.com safety car to pull away. The Porsche 911, away it goes. And our pole sitter then, Almeida. Well, he had a bit of a disappointment around the oval at Gateway. He'll be hopefully getting a better result here, but Woodford, Veyron and Sykes are the three drivers who are all trying to chase him down here. But round the final corners then, the left hand of the green flag comes out, and we are racing here. Ross Woodford got caught napping there at the start, across the line, under the bridge into turn number one. We've got cars off in the grass in the background, but we're staying up at the front here. Car 4, Greg Seitz, moving his way towards the keyhole for the first time then. And car at the back there, that's Correa, who's had an issue, got back up and running. Doesn't appear to be much damage on the car. Get a look on the replay here. This is a turn number one. Cold tyres, you've got to be careful with this car. Oh, yeah, just clipped the front wing there. And that's off of Topher Roberts, who carries on fine. All the drivers still going on out there. Ian Green and Schneider at the moment, I can tell you, are running, and they are pulling away. We're still on that replay with damage to Roberts there from what we can see. I think that might sort itself out eventually when the server sends us that information. We're up at the front then, it's Almeida, Veyron. And then they've got a bit of a gap back to Woodford, who's ahead of Orson Walsh. Greg Seitz is trying to put the pressure on as well, with Mandenax and Ilbrink crowning out the top 7 here.
Yeah, Ross Woodford just got left, basically caught sleeping at the start and lost the position, but still in the top 3 at the moment. But like you say, Paul, the top 2 at the front have managed to break away a little bit and build up a bit of a gap as they come down into the keyhole.
Messing and Phil Reed battling it for 17th and 18th. Also, Christian Otrella and Evan Imre have been battling with Frankenguy as well. As we head on down the back straight, change of position there then, that we see on the screen, and it's McCutchinson, the man who is very proud of his heritage, Scottish heritage there, going through into the China Beach section of the track. But Imre and Ottarello, oh my goodness, Ottarola. I'll get there eventually. I do apologise. I'm having a bit of a nightmare today, let's be honest. As we're heading on through towards Thunder Valley, through the right, into the left. Get your line right through the left here. Try and open up this next corner as much as possible. V it off. That's exactly what that lead car was doing to Imre. Round they go. Final corner then. And Ottarola coming under pressure from Hutchinson, who's a very quick driver in this car.
He is, and John's he's maybe not quick with this car, but he's always there and thereabouts, and at the moment he's doing well up in P14 as he tries to take a look up the inside into the key. Oh, car off in the gravel.
Yeah, that's Martin Arnoldis, who's off in the gravel there. There's bits of cars strewn across the gravel trap. I'm sure we'll get a replay of that up on screen right now. So this is going in towards the keyhole. He's got nobody behind him, so it must be that he's lost it himself under braking. Yeah, he's on his own here, so nobody's going to make any contact with him. He's just gone straight. He's just gone straight into the tyre barrier. What on earth has happened there, Ryan?
That looks like a possible hardware failure, or maybe, yeah, it looks like either something's happened with his pedals, or maybe if he's on VRs, maybe his VRs just went blank. But yeah, that's a bit of a weird one.
Well, he just changed down gears right at the last minute and tried to slow down, but I think he may have just missed his braking point completely and gone nose first into the tyre barrier there. I can tell you at the moment, your fastest lap is the man third in line here. That's Ross Woodford, so he's getting up to speed a little bit. I say that because he was only 0.003 of a second faster than your overall race leader on that last lap. So, yes, he has the fastest lap of the race, but it's only 0.003 faster than the two in front here, Ryan.
Yeah, the top 3 are pretty much evenly matched for pace, but yeah, not far in the background either. In 4th place is Oyson Walsh, under attack from Greg Seitz and Valentin Mandenac.
I can tell you what the problem was with Martin Arnoldis, and well, he's just put it in the chat. His wife disturbed him. I mean, make of that what you will, but there you go. 4th and 5th place then. And we'll look at this. Walsh, Sight, and Mandanacht as well is onto the back of them as well. This is a tricky corner, isn't it, Ryan? Through the carousel, because there's so many different lines to go through there, and if you take it a little bit wide to try and open up to the exit of turn 12, you end up giving a big gap for somebody else to go down the inside of you.
Yeah, you do, and it's one of those corners that you want to try and take as tight as possible. But on the other hand, I find if you take a wide line in and then a tight exit, it seems to help in the exit of the final couple of corners. But it's I think it's his personal preference and whatever you're comfortable with.
Well, I mean, the thing is, you can run that line in qualifying, for example. But when you're in a race, in a group of cars, as you see the two in front of Sight trying to get the move done on Walsh here as they go head into China Breach, if you take that line in the race when you're in a queue of traffic, you're just inviting the others to stick the nose in there. Before you know it, you either lose a position or you end up getting quarter panelled and around you go.
Absolutely, and it's...
Oh, we've lost somebody. Your own Messing.
Someone's left the race.
In the gravel. So what's happened here then? This is down into turn number 4. So down the back straight. This is the fastest part of the circuit. We'll get a look at this on replay. Car looks to the inside. There's contact. Wheel-to-wheel contact. It's a good job. It's a nice deep gravel trap there, because he manages to avoid any contact with the wall. But it's Latoshkin who makes the contact. It's a dive to the inside here, Ryan. This is the favoured opportunity, isn't it, on this track?
Yeah, if you get a great run on someone down the straight, heading down to China Beach, you can try and make him move up inside, but
that's coming from a long way.
Yeah, is that a long way back?
Yeah, that was more of he started braking, realised that I am going to actually make a move here, or else I'll hit the back of him, because I've had that situation a few times at that corner as well, I must say. But yeah, the carry on. Your own has gone to the pits to get some repairs. Obviously, the front wing is damaged or something like that. But he's the lead 2 then. Not forgotten about these two. Half a second, just under half a second between the two of them as they round the final 2 corners. Oh, big switch there from Veyron. That's a heart-in-mouth moment. That just loses him a few tenths. Drops him back to a second back. We'll get a replay of this, Ryan, but great catch is this one.
Yeah, that was a great save and great car control. And it looks like he probably just put too much power down and just spun up the rear wheels a little bit and got it sideways, but amazingly managed to hold it. But he's also allowed Ross Woodford to catch up to him.
Well, he just got a wheel. He just got an inside wheel onto that curb as he's putting the power down, and I think that's what's just maybe not giving him the grip that he was expecting. And as you mentioned, Almeida is away now, 1.2 seconds, and once you break the draft here, it's pretty easy for the leader to start pulling away. We see that in all sorts of Formula races, but Ross Woodford has caught up to Veyron in that battle because of that mistake. Paul Ilbrink is now getting involved in this battle with Mandanacht, with Seitz, and with Walsh. That's 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th as we run down through Thunder Valley once again, underneath the bridge, heading into turn 11 then, the left-hander. Watch the different lines being used. So tight in to start with, run out to the middle of the track, and then late exit apex, get the run through turn 13 and across the line to start yet another lap. Lap 8 of this race already. We are flying through these laps here. Fastest lap of the race, Ross Woodford, a 1:15.847, as you can see at the top of your screen. Don't forget live timing and scoring is available as well. racespot.tv/timing2 if you want to keep up to date with everything going on. And right there, Ryan, you can see Hutchinson, one of your biggest movers here.
Yeah, he's gained a lot of positions and he's had a great start to the race. John McHutchison up in 11th place at the moment and having a good run. He's just being quiet as well, but having a great run nevertheless. And just sitting outside the top 10, and he's got a bit of a gap in front of him to the next car, which is Greeny.
Well, this is it. He's managed to actually gap out Imre, who is behind him now. So he's made his way past Otarola and Imre behind, and he's got about 2 seconds between him and Mitchell Green. Chris Willett has had an issue. I could see, there he is. This is at China Beach, I bet. Coming through up over the hill. Tricky part of the track to rejoin at here. So this is going to be down at turn 4 then. Oh, late on the brakes. Oh, that's a big launch, is that one. Big drama for Chris. My goodness, I'm amazed that car's still running there, Ryan.
Yeah, I'm amazed he never got anything like suspension damage. But just watching the replay now from onboard roofs, and it looks like roofs ran wide and just basically got ploughed inside.
Yeah, now if you're thinking, roofs isn't going to carry on because of the damage, well, what we have is that we have to wait a little bit longer for it with the new damage one. We just have to wait a little bit longer for the server to send us that information to say, actually, no, the wheel hasn't fallen off that car. And amazingly, both cars still running, although Willett has ended up on pit road here, so he's gone to the pits after that bit of drama. And Aaron Roofs down in 19th place. Now the second and third place battle is getting a little bit closer here. And in fact, Ross Woodford taking a different line, looked like he was going to try and stick his nose in through the penultimate corner. And instead, just staying as they are, 0.46 of a second across the line. But look at those laps there, Ryan. The crucial 2, lap 6 and lap 7. 0.6 of a second gain there in those 2 laps.
Yeah, Woodford just seems to be the quicker driver at the moment. Woodford takes a wide line into the keyhole and takes a tighter line on the exit to try and maximise run on the exit. And heading down to China Beach, it looks like Woodford's got the run and the slipstream.
Yeah, here we go then, in towards turn number 4. And Veyron didn't even fight that one. He just let go of the throttle, let Woodford by. And that's a change of position. Also changes the position for 4th as well. Greg Seitz has stopped. He's around. This is at China Beach as well. Turn number 4, exit at turn number 4. This time on the other side of turn number 4 compared to what we've seen before. He was in 5th place, was Greg. He was trying to make the move, and I was in Walsh here. But we'll see what happens then. Down into China Beach. Are these two going to wheel bang? Well, he's down the inside. Oh, just a little touch from Walsh. That sends him round.
Yeah, that was unfortunate for those two guys. Both were having a great race. Oysen manages to keep going, but Greg, I think he might have some damage or some light damage anyway. So that was also unfortunate for Greg as well. He was having a great run. Yeah,
there's the little touch. Oh! Eventually got themselves around. Walsh has ended up losing the position to Mandenack, so he's moved down, and Baptiste Schneider now is out of the race. He's stopped and he's missing the front end, and he's taking a tour back to the pits, missing various parts of his car there, Ryan.
Yeah, it looks like he might have got. There's no one close to him, so it looks like he might have possibly lost it into turn 1 or on the exit of turn 1 anyway. And they turns in, and it looks like he just clipped inside curb.
Now, normally, if you're saying like a GT car or something like that, you can use that inside curb, can't you? But in this car, so stiffly sprung, not a chance.
Yeah, GT car, you could probably get away with it because there's more weight in them as well. With open wheel cars, they're not as heavy, so you can't really get away with doing that.
Well, there you go. There's the replays then into the wall and out of the race for him. I can tell you that your leader is ahead by 1 3/4 seconds. So lap 12 of 26. Now here's that battle. Walsh has made it back into 4th place ahead of Mandenack, so able to gain his position back. Now it's just 3 cars battling it out. Mandenack and Ilbrink are the 2 trying to chase down Walsh. Mandenack getting a great run out of the keyhole. Down the back straight. There is a kink there. That's turn number 3. That's classed as? Down into turn 4, Mandanak looking to the inside, Walsh having to take a wide line. Up and over the top of the hill, and Mandanak just runs wide. That's one of the problems. We're taking that wide line through turn number 5 there. You get on the marbles there, Ryan, and before you know it, you're heading for the grass.
Yep, you're basically just a passenger when you get on the marbles, and you lose all grip as well, and you're just basically a passenger. But yeah, managed. He done well to keep off stop that from spinning as well. So fair play to him. Manages to keep going.
Does mean that Paul Ilbrink has made his way past now, though, up into 5th place for Paul as he works through across the line yet again. We are getting at the end of this lap. We'll be at the halfway point of this race. These drivers still pushing on, trying to gain as many positions as possible in their particular races. As your leader now, 1.9 seconds. As I mentioned, Ryan, we've seen it time and again in open wheel series that we've shown here on Friday Primetime. I can think all the way back to the first ever Friday Primetime, which was the Formula Renault 2.0, but we've had various other open wheelers since then as well. The Indy cars come to mind as well. As soon as you break that draft at the front of the field, that leader just seems to be able to just then pull away at will.
Yeah, and I found that as well last night in the race I done. As soon as the leader got away and got up to about 1.5 seconds to 2 seconds, basically you could just get away and just build up a bit of a gap and control the pace and control the gap. And yeah, you're pretty much fine then. But at the moment, Almeida is pretty much doing that, pulled away, built up a bit of a gap, and it looks like someone else has had issues as well. As it looks like Aaron Roos.
Yeah, he's on pit road. I wonder if that's basically a follow-on from that incident that we saw between him and it was Chris Willett, wasn't it, that we saw. New fastest lap, by the way, by our race leader, Suele Almeida. So doing a really good job out at the front of your field. Now, he was almost 0.2 of a second faster on that last lap, and, crucially for him, he's got some lap traffic between himself and Ross Woodford as well.
Yep, but that lap traffic will help in this twisty section that they're coming up to. Almeida will probably be trying to, or hoping at least anyway, that the back marker holds up Ross Woodford and Elliot Veyron to just try and eke out that gap.
Yeah, you see just the lines that he's able to take, the confidence that he's got through these corners, through turn 9 especially. The corner drops away from you. It wants to push you out wide as we've got battling further down. 14th and 15th then. Phil Reed is one of them. And Nikita Lastoshkin through China Beach. Turn 6 is right-hander, turn 7 the left, then another right at turn 8, which is here, into 9. Once you exit 9, watch it just drops away, does the road, and then you head towards Thunder Valley, turn number 10. Quick right-hander, just dab of brakes, get the front end in for 11, and then slow it way down here for this long carousel, turn number 12. And finally turn 13 on the power again, all the way and across the line for another lap. But those two have seemed to have just separated out a little bit. We have got a little bit of close action for 4th, 5th and 6th place. And there we go, right on cue. It's almost as if my producer knows what I wanted to look at. But yeah, these three battling away. Walsh getting right up to the grass there. On the exit of turn number 4 into 5, Ryan, he is pushing those track limits to the very limit, isn't he?
Yeah, he's getting dangerously close to clipping that grass as well. And yeah, it looks like he might just be feeling the pressure a little bit, judging by the way he's moving that car around. But he's not doing too bad. But he just needs to just keep it cool at the moment.
Ilbrink keeping the pressure on here. So too is Mandanak behind as well. The white, blue and black car behind Ilbrink is Mandanak. On board with him then. He's having a look, just showing his nose through the first left-hander, turn number 1. Oh, and Ilbrink, big drama on the exit of turn number 1. That allows Mandanak to go through, but Ilbrink will have had a sharp intake of breath, just like my producer in my ear there, because that was a moment and a half there.
Oh, I even had me was a bit scared for a moment, but Paul manages to save that and keep going. And yeah, these guys are absolutely pushing it to the limit and just trying to eke out every bit of pace that they can.
So we just see, it's not the best view of that, unfortunately, with the wiggle. You saw a wiggle there, though. We'll get a better look of it here then. So Mandanak was getting a look to the inside, and then on the exit, up onto the grass there. Big heart-in-mouth moment, but carries on, does Paul Ilbrink. All of this is allowing Greg Seitz, actually, to close up on these guys. He's got some pace going as Greg here in this race, Ryan, because he's now, what, about second and a half, second and three quarters off of this battle here.
Yeah, he's not too far behind, and he's putting in a great recovery drive as well after his earlier incident. And he's catching up to these guys really quickly. If these guys in front of him keep scrapping amongst themselves, he'll be there right behind them in no time.
Yeah, so keeping the pressure up there is Greg. You can see those lap times, 0.8 of a second on lap 16. Well, that's because of Paul Ilbrink's little moment, but still, half a second and 0.3 of a second, the two laps before that. That's incredible pace that Greg is showing here, and he's really putting the pressure on to try and get to them. But with 10 laps remaining here, time is starting to run out here, and Ross Woodford hasn't been able to break away from Elliot Veron here in third place. So second and third still pretty close together for the time being, as your leader is almost 3 seconds in the lead now.
Yeah, Armida's is just putting on a great display at the moment, and he's just controlling that gap as well. And Woodford and Veron are just really still close together and scrapping away. And Woodford and Veron as well are really close on pace, so it's hard to tell who will finish at the second and third place at the moment.
This track is giving us more and more pace throughout this race, because your race leader has just set another fastest lap of a 15.7. So he's really putting the pace in, really getting the hammer down as your race leader. But you can see those two, second and third place, pretty close together. Keeping the pressure on his Veyron, but not really making any moves for the time being. So he's just holding place for the time being. Part that could be just maybe looking after those tyres a little bit more than Ross in front. Therefore, towards the end of the race here, Ryan, make some moves.
And with this car as well, if you push too much too early, you can possibly destroy the tyres early in the race as well. So the way I like to do it with this car, or the way I like to drive this car, is look after the tyres in the early stages, and then towards the end of the race, if you've still got kind of fresh tyres towards the end, and that's when you can start pushing more.
The way I drive this car is I have one speed, and that's as fast as I can go. And unfortunately, it doesn't work out for me. But there you go. That's my lack of talent in, which is why I'm here in the commentary booth. And some would say that's my lack of talent in the commentary booth as well. But anyway, we've got close battles throughout your field. So you've got this second place battle between Ross Woodford and Elliot Veyron. We've got this battle for fourth place as well between Owen Walsh, Valentine Mandanak, and also Paul Ilbrink. You've got Thomas Seeger and Mitchell Green battling out for 8th and 9th. They're pretty close together. And then we've got Evan Imre, we've got Christian Atarola, Phil Reed and Frank Ngoyen as well at the back of this one. So 4-car battle for 11th place as well. So great action all the way through your field. And this one is certainly giving us some action on track right now, Ryan.
As and it looked like for a second that Otarola was trying to make a move on Emery, but he decided to back out of it. And it looks like Phil Reed's got the run on Otarola as well, as I'll hopefully get that name correct.
Down to the inside of turn 4. This is the outside for turn 5, though. We've seen how that's the issue. Ooh. And around goes Otarola. Hold your brakes, please. When you're spinning round, hold your brakes. And then going is the innocent party in all of that. Oh my goodness, Otarola, when you're spinning like that, please hold your brakes, because you're coming back across the racing line. And that's exactly what has taken out Frank there.
Yeah, Otarola, like you said, Paul, should have held his brakes when he was spinning. just unfortunately had contact there with another car, and unfortunately kept turning right when he was spinning around, and they took out another car. When in fact he should have just kept the steering straight, in my mind.
Well, there you go. That's what happened, and we'll see this view from Frank. He's going to hit the brakes and go, I'm going to go to the left, because that's where the gap is. The problem is that the other car was rolling across that gap and came into him. So not the ideal end to Frank Ngoyen's race there. In fact, he is back in the pits, taking a tour back to the pits. Christian Ottarola as well as headed on to pit road. Now, the battle for 5th place has got interesting, because Oisin Walsh has been able to just pull away slightly here in this one, and that's meant that Mandanact is coming under pressure from Paul Ilbrink behind. They were close going down the back straight, I noticed on the timing screen. These two certainly giving everything that they can in this one. Ilbrink's just dropped back that little bit on this lap. That's allowed Mandanact just to relax a little bit in towards the keyhole once again. Lap 21 of 26. The time is running out in this race for these drivers. This is where the effects of tyre wear will be felt here. Although track temperature only 24 degrees Celsius, so the drivers shouldn't be complaining too much, as Walsh dropping back from 4th to 6th. So Walsh with issues there, dropping back. That's interesting. Why he dropped back there?
Yeah, I'm not sure if he had any issues or if he ran wide, or but Mandanac just caught him up really quickly, and he gained the position, and Walsh is under attack from Paul Ilbrink. Ilbrink it looks like he's going to try and go for a move on Walsh.
Oh, as down they go then, and Ilbrink staying ahead of Walsh then. We've got an issue for Correa. Don't say this is enough a victim of turn number 1 out wide. No, that's fine. Is it going to be the keyhole at turn number 2 then? Onto the brakes. Everything seems fine there. No, we just lost him. So connection problem for Correa then, meaning that we've lost him. Oisin Walsh now down to 7th place, because Greg Seitz has made his way past Oisin. So I think Walsh has got some issues here.
Yeah, it could be. He's not going.
Has he underfueled?
Yeah, I wonder if it's fuel. If he's fuel saving.
It must be fuel saving, because he wouldn't be going that slowly by choice. That's for. So we'll listen for any fuel saving. Yeah, he doesn't seem to be going all the way up to the top. This is interesting. Well, this is interesting. We'll see what about down into China Beach then. He's going past lap traffic. No lift and coast there. We'll go back to live pictures anyway. That was the replay there, just to see if there was anything about that. But Walsh now, that's just lap traffic behind. That's the car 17 of Baptiste Schneider, so we don't need to worry about him. Schneider's was on pit road for almost 11 minutes there in this one. Lap 23 of 26. The battle for second place is still ongoing. Woodford and Veyron as they come through China Beach once again. These two, they've been pretty much inseparable throughout this race. Woodford having to get back that second place after losing out at the start of the race here, but Woodford not on the pace at all compared to your race leader, because Almeida at the front is doing a sensational job, and Woodford's got to look behind him, Ryan.
Yeah, as he clips the grass a little bit, and as they come into the carousel now, and Woodford just seems to be, can't seem to keep up the same pace as Almeida, so he's having to keep an eye on his mirrors and keep an eye on Veyron. And it looks like at the moment Veyron seems to be the quicker car.
Yeah, as they go through turn 1 then, past our camera. Look at the slipstream. Will Veyron make a move into the keyhole? He's having a look to the inside, but Woodford taking that wider line to get the slingshot off the corner to take him down the back straight. But Veyron has the slipstream right now. He's got the draft. We've got 3 laps remaining of this race. Down towards turn number 4. Veyron looking to the outside. Woodford going back to his normal line. And Woodford's having to be very defensive here. And I think we called it earlier then, Ryan. I do think that Woodford has pushed his tyres just that little bit more than Veyron behind.
It looks like it, but looks like it indeed, and it looks like Veyron will probably make that move. Not sure when, but it looks like he'll make the move anyway. I think his best chance for making a move is on that back straight heading down to China Beats.
I can tell you, by the way, racebot.tv/timing2 to keep up to date with everything, because further down your order, Greg Seitz has actually made his way past Paul Ilbrink to make it up into 5th place now. So Greg on a bit of a charge towards the end. I think, again, Paul Ilbrink is another one of those drivers who's maybe used his tyres a little bit too much, and he's dropping back. Oyson Walsh is dropping back into the grasps of Mitchell Green as well as Thomas Ziegler. So Walsh could lose even more places. Veyron runs wide through the exit, the keyhole. That costs him time down the back straight. It won't be helping him then, as we're on the penultimate lap here through the going to turn 4. But look at this now. Walsh under serious pressure from behind. To the inside goes Mitchell Green. That's another place lost for Walsh, and he could lose yet another one because Thomas Ziegler is right behind him. So the man who was in 4th place here, Ryan, is looking at potentially going down to 9th here.
It looks like it, and he's not a... And
front wing, yeah.
Well, I think Walsh is indeed fuel saving, or trying to fuel save at least.
No, he's got front wing damage. You can see it there. Look at that, nicely circled there by our producer. Front wing damage is costing him a serious amount of time in this race. He's dropped all the way down to 9th. He's only 2 seconds ahead of John McHutchinson, and he was about 2 seconds slower on his last lap. So he could end up losing 10th place. But we're on to the final lap of this race already here. Almeida up at the front. He's coming out of the keyhole, down the back stretch, and he's only really got another 9 corners to go here. Seitz and Ilbrink, they are battling still for 5th and 6th place as they head into the keyhole. What can Ilbrink do here this late stage of the race? He's getting a little bit of a wiggle on the exit of the corner. Down the back straight he's going. He's got the slipstream here. Down in towards turn number 4. Looks to the inside. He dives down the inside. Through he goes, up into 5th place, cuts the nose off of Seitz, but we'll look forward then to Almeida because he's getting towards the end of the race here. Just the final couple of corners then. What a drive it is from Suelia Almeida across the line to take victory here on week 9 of the Indy Pro 2000 Championship on Friday prime time. Fantastic stuff. Ross Woodford and Veyron finished 2nd and 3rd places. Still, this battle goes on between Ilbrink and Seitz, and I do think that Seitz just doesn't have enough to get past. I can tell you McHutchinson has made it past Walsh up into 9th place. So McHutchinson, you can see the gap that he's pulled away from Walsh. So that damage really affected Walsh towards the end of this race here, down to 10th place for him across the line. Everyone else, he's thrown it into the wall. He's had enough of that car already. He's done with it. That does actually affect your safety rating because the results aren't official yet. So he will take the hit, the literal hit, right there. But as everyone else comes across the line, I can tell you what an imperious drive out at the front, because Suelia Almeida did a sensational job in this race. Last car is across the line, so we will be able to give you your official race results in just 1 moment's time up on screen. So here we are then, Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. Welcome race fans, the sign says, and it was a welcome sight for Suelio Almeida, who wins this one from Brazil, 4 seconds ahead of Ross Woodford. It was only 0.3 of a second ahead of third place man Elliot Veyron. Valentin Mandenac from France as well ends up in 4th place ahead of Paul Ilbrink in 5th. Greg Seitz 6th ahead of Mitchell Green. I don't think he would have expected to have finished 7th. 8th for Thomas Ziegler ahead of John McHutchinson, who really was set in 10th place. And then also Walsh down in 10th place with damage to his car, and that cost him big time. 11th for Phil Reed ahead of Evan Imre. Imre was involved in a great battle with Nikita Lashtukin, and that was 13th for him. Fabian Barthold in 14th ahead of Andres Felipe Correa. Mike McCormack, the last of your drivers on the lead lap, and then drivers 1 lap down or more. Topher Roberts and Chris Willett, who we saw taking flight earlier on in 18th place, and drivers who really were affected. Christian Ottarola, Frank Nguyen, who was the victim of that incident with Christian at China Beach. Baptiste Schneider, who we saw end up in the wall. Aaron Roofs, who we saw having a little bit of a get-together as well. Jeroen Messing and Martin Arnoldas getting distracted by his wife. How inconsiderate. Ends up down in 24th in the race. So that was week 9 of the series. And I tell you what, Ryan, there was some really good racing in that one. I was expecting maybe everyone going in the line, but no, that was good stuff.
Yeah, there's fantastic racing everywhere, up at the front, in the midfield, at the back of the field. And yeah, it was a lot more exciting than I thought it would be. I thought it would be about the line astern for most of it, but I have to say, great race up at the front. Maybe not for the one, but that battle for the final podium position, or the final couple of podium positions, I should say, was great to watch. And also the battle for 4th, 5th, and 6th.
Yeah, it was a really good battle for those. I could tell you the biggest gainer in that race as well as John McHutchinson, who made up 8 positions out of the grid there. I do believe we've actually got somebody for an interview as well, which is nice to see. So if we can bring him in, it's the man who finished in 5th place in this race then, and it is going to be Paul Ilbrink, and hopefully we could get a word with him now. Ryan, take it away with Paul.
Yeah, Paul Ilbrink finishing in 5th place, and Paul, that was a pretty good race for you, and a great battle towards the end with, I believe it was you, Greg, and Oyce and Wilson, 1 or 2 other drivers.
Yeah, it wasn't like a great race, but it was like at least fun to battle. Like, it's a bit embarrassing how far we are off the pace compared to the top guys, but yeah, it's not really good weather to do sim racing now, so I only did a couple of laps, but yeah, I had fun.
And what was your expectations heading into this race? Was like you say, you weren't happy to be off the pace of the front runners, but I guess yeah, being in 5th place, it wasn't too bad, but yeah, not where you want to be. So will you be putting more effort to be closer to the front for the next race next week?
No, I just hope that the front will slow down a bit, so I can match my pace. That's like easier for me.
And overall, what did you think of Mid-Ohio for this car? Did you think it suited it, or was it a bit one of those tracks that you'd rather forget about?
No, I think it's a pretty good track. It's nice to slide this car around over this hilly cornice, and yeah, it's a good combo, I think.
Good stuff. Well, thanks for joining us in the booth, Paul. And before we let you go, is there anyone you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, sure. All my teammates at Radicals Online and our partners and sponsors at Armour Centrum, Cranfield Simulation, Track Racer, Joe Real Timing, Turn Racing, MOATF Podcast, Six Sideways, and Pixel Dust. And you guys for doing a nice broadcast.
Thank you, Paul. So that was Paul Ilbrink finishing in 5th place today, joining us. And yeah, I can understand his frustration, Paul, but with him being in the F1 World Championship Series and being really quick, he wants to be up at the front in a series like this.
I don't think that the guys at the front are going to voluntarily slow down. I think that's something that we'll take away from this race. It's going to be a bit of a difficult one, but one man that you can't slow down is Suelio Almeida. I mean, we had that issue with him at the last at the Oval at Gateway, and that was a race that really should have been competitive with and should have potentially won there, Ryan. But to be 4 seconds ahead of Ross Woodford, who is a magnificent driver in this car, it is an incredible achievement for him. Ryan, I think we've lost Ryan there. Yeah, I think we've lost him.
Is that
there
better?
we go. We can hear him
Sorry
now.
about that. My mic cut out for a second. But yeah, I was just going to say, Almeida, he's not had the luck on the ovals, but on the road side of things in this car, he's been absolutely fantastic to watch, and he's really taken the challenge to Ross Woodford.
Well, let's go ahead and interview then your race winner. And well, congratulations! A dominant display out there, and it all really came from the start. You got an incredible start there. Hello there, Suelia. We'll try again, Suelia. Can you? We'll come back to you in a second, but a little bit of technical problems. It's a live broadcast; you expect sort of some technical problems, but yeah, one key thing that I was surprised by was how much the damage to Walsh really affected him and dropped him from 4th all the way down to 10th in the end.
Yeah, I think with this car, it's even the slightest of touches, even on the rear, the front wing, sorry, it can affect the handling, and it just it means you'll get more understeer. As I found out in a race earlier this season at Road America, it's just if you get major damage or slight damage on this car, aerodynamic wise, it can hinder you.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to try this one again, and hopefully this works this time. First of all, Australia, can you hear us now, and can we hear you?
Oh, perfect.
There we go. Thank you. So as I'll throw you the same question as I threw you the last time. Dominant display, and it all really started off with that start. You got an incredible launch at the start of the race there.
Yeah, I was practicing a little bit. The start is quite complicated because there's no much time between the pace car going in and the actual green lights. So I realized that we were always thinking about when am I going to start, and then suddenly the green lights would go. So I was actually trying to get on the throttle before the green lights actually appeared. So that's why I maybe did some kind of a trick, surprised Ross. I think Elliot was actually ready for that, so he actually got the second position at the start. And about the pace, I got it like yesterday. I spent the entire weekend struggling with setup and not finding the time, and seeing Ross time, and he was just like 5/10 quicker. So I spent some more time and almost giving up about the setup, but then I suddenly found some magic trick on the setup that, of course, I'm not gonna tell you here. And then suddenly it just suited my driving, and I immediately started getting faster. So I felt very confident for this race. Although I didn't expect to be 2/10 ahead on the qualifying.
Well, yeah, so you had that gap in the qualifying, and you had early pressure from Elliot and from Ross, and then a little mistake from Elliot allowed Ross to get in and get involved with him. And was that key in you being able to? Did you notice that and think, right, I need to really get some good times in now, make that break to make my life easy?
Yeah, I was actually having some problems with that hard braking zone after the first straight. Elliot was always gaining like 1/10, maybe even 2/10 just on the braking zone because I didn't have the confidence to brake there, and I always saw him getting huge in my mirror. So I realized, okay, I'm gonna have to practice this during the race. I'm gonna have to try braking later, and then I was actually braking, and I realized that the grip was there. So at the beginning of the race, he was actually faster than me, and with the drafting that also helps a lot. I was actually very worried because if he attacked, Ross would come, and then Ross was actually very, very quick at the end of the race. So I was worried about that, but he also wanted to run away a little bit from Ross, so he didn't attack so much. And then after 5 or 10 laps, I started finding the actual pace and a little bit of confidence, because after T1, for example, if you get the cone, you break your wing, you lose your race. And at the middle part there, just a little bit of grass and you're also ruined. So I was very careful, but I somehow found a good balance between being careful and maintaining the consistency. So it was difficult. It was tough at the beginning, but then I started finding the rhythm, and I got very happy with it.
And of course, just finally, next week it's Suzuka, one of the all-time classic circuits. Is that a circuit that you particularly enjoy?
Yes, I love it. I actually drove it a lot with the Formula 3, with the Formula 3.5, and well, I'm actually already thinking about my plans for next week, for when I'm going to practice. But yeah, I think I'm very looking forward for it. It's gonna be quite complicated in terms of setup, because people run no wings for the straights, and people will run a lot of wings for the S's. So it's going to be pretty intense, because if we go to the broadcasted race and someone has like totally different setup, it's going to be interesting.
Well, before we let you go then, anyone you want to give a quick mention to whilst you're here?
Yeah, sure. I want to say thanks to my racing team, EG Racing. That's Estrela Galicia. It's a Brazilian team for whom I'm racing right now. And also my friends and my girlfriend, Amanda. I love you. And yeah, see you guys next week.
Well, thank you very much, and all the best for next week.
Thanks.
So we go that race winner with the interview, and let's wrap up this broadcast by looking forward then next week. Suzuka, an all-time classic circuit, one of my favourites to race on. Amelia did sort of touch on it there. The difficulties in setting up that car. You will see different cars quicker at different parts of the track.
Yeah, you will, and I think some drivers might set up the car for next week for the high speed corners, and other drivers might try and set the car up for some of the straights. So it'll be interesting to see what way the drivers go with regards to the setup.
Certainly will, but I'm afraid we're all out of time here on Friday Prime Time here on the iRacing Esports Network. But make sure you stick around. There's actually IndyCar action going on right now on the iRacing Esports Network as well, from this track as well, Mid-Ohio. So make sure if you enjoyed this one, go and check out Arjuna and Samil on their broadcast there. But finally, just to wrap up everything, first of all, thank you very much to Istvan Balo, TrackCams22.com, for the track cameras that we see here on broadcast. Thank you very much to Connor and Medic as well, behind the scenes on production, and as well my colleague here, Ryan, and myself on commentary. Wishing you all a fun farewell. Until next week, it's goodbye.